The SVU-AS is the first sniper you unlock in Black Ops 2. It unlocks as soon as you unlock Creator class and you don't have to spend an unlock token on it. It is a semi-automatic sniper rifle and a 2-hit kill at almost every range unless you get a headshot. It works well at medium to long range if you are ready for the enemies. That doesn't mean you have to sit behind cover for a while and wait for enemies to come. You just have to be intelligent about moving the map, going to positions where you know that you'll be flanking the enemies at a longer range. If you see a stationary enemy, it is always best to line up a headshot rather than starting to spam as soon as you can see him. The suppressor attachment keeps you off the minimap and negates muzzle flash. It didn't feel like it reduced the amount of damage I was doing too much. I was still getting a 1-hit kill in the head and also 2-hit kills at longer ranges if I shot the torso. But because you are at medium to long range, the suppressor attachment isn't that useful because at that kind of range it doesn't really matter if they know where you are, you just have to change positions. Most of the time you'll be killed by enemies flanking you that you've just shot anyway. They won't actually be enemies that have found you on the minimap since you are at such a long range. The ballistic CPU attachment reduces the idle sway. I didn't notice any difference in how the weapon handled because I usually hold the breath anyway and then you don't get any idle sway at all, so I didn't really find a use for the ballistic CPU at all. Fast mag considerably reduces the time it takes to reload, but any reload is going to have to occur between you shoot enemies, not whilst you're in an engagement, because even with fast mags the reload times are still pretty long and you still have to aim down the sights again and line up a shot, which will take a considerable amount of time. FMJ increases the penetration of the SVU-AS and it also increases the damage you do against score streaks. The SVU-AS isn't very well suited to taking out score streaks because even a UAV will take more than one magazine and getting out of the fight for that long is pretty detrimental. Also, I didn't find that I was shooting enemies through cover too much because you can easily line up a shot with the scope that it goes above the cover and you're unlikely to hit anything with blind fire through cover. The ACOG scope is a closer range sight than the standard sight on the SVU-AS. It means you can be a lot more aggressive and the rifle handles a little bit like a semi-automatic assault rifles, although it does still have slower handling characteristics and movement speed. At the range that the ACOG sight is good, the SVU-AS isn't that good, so I didn't really like using it. It's just really an aesthetic thing to do rather than actually being helpful to using the SVU-AS. The laser sight reduces the hipfire spread of the SVU-AS. I really don't know why anyone would want to use that with a sniper rifle, but it is a little bit of fun to just run at the enemies and just hipfire with the SVU-AS. The dual band attachment highlights enemies in the scope, but I always found that it was a little bit too clustered and I didn't find it that useful anyway because you can pretty clearly see enemies regardless of if you're using the dual band or not. But if you are having trouble identifying enemies, it is certainly a worthwhile attachment and makes it much easier to spot enemies even at very long range. Often you're going to be in a longer engagement and then extended clip is very good because it increases the bullets you have per magazine and it also means that you can take on more than one enemy without having to reload, which is very good if you are being a little bit more aggressive. The reason I recommend using extended clip rather than fast mags is because if you are in the middle of a firefight and you run out of bullets, even fast mags isn't going to get you back in it. But extended clip gives you an extra 6 bullets with which you can finish off the targets. The reason I recommend using the zoom attachment is because the sort of zoomed out state of the zoom attachment is actually much less magnified than the standard scope that the SVU-AS has, which gives you a lot more peripheral vision and means that you can cover more than one sort of place where you know enemies appear than with the standard scope. You might be surprised by the choice of perks, but it's the reason I recommend using flak jacket and tactical mask is because enemies don't expect a sniper rifle guy to have these perks, so they tend to use their equipment such as frag grenades and concussion grenades and so on to try and stop you from being able to respond to them coming close. But if you have flak jacket and tactical mass, you'll be all but immune to that kind of strategy, and you can either retreat or take out your secondary, which is key to the SVU-AS in case you come into a close range engagement and finish off the enemies that are trying to advance on your position. Toughness is key to using a sniper rifle, because if you're shot at long range, the flinch is going to cause you to lose your targets. The reason I recommend using the grenade is because it lets you defend objectives if you are further away from them, which is usually the case when you are using the SVU-AS. The shock charges will help protect your back when you are in a more defensive position, which is often the case with the SVU-AS. So, there you go, that's the class setup that I recommend for the SVU-AS. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time.